Did you know that hiring an unlicensed attorney could literally jeopardize your entire case? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going on a bit of an investigative journey. We're going to make absolutely sure your legal representation in Maryland is exactly who they claim to be. And the best part, I'm going to hand you the exact step-by-step tools to verify it yourself. Let's get into it. So I want you to imagine this high-stakes scenario for a second. You're right in the middle of a critical legal battle, right? You've paid thousands in retainers. Then, right on the eve of your big hearing, you find out your lawyer's license was actually suspended months ago. Hiring a fake, suspended, or decertified lawyer isn't just some administrative hiccup. It can actually lead to your case being completely dismissed, and you could completely lose your right to any financial reimbursement. Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 6 key areas: the high stakes, decoding statuses, the 3-step guide, a disciplinary deep dive, avoiding common mistakes, and we'll wrap it up with a conclusion and checklist. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the high stakes, looking at the real risks of unverified counsel. Maryland takes this stuff incredibly seriously. Under the Maryland Code, the unauthorized practice of law, often called UPL, is a literal crime. We're talking about a misdemeanor that is subject to fines and conviction. The state absolutely does not tolerate unverified individuals dispensing legal advice, and honestly, neither should you. The real-world consequences here are severe. Just to give you an example, in immigration cases, there's a prevalent issue known as notario fraud. This is where individuals basically masquerade as attorneys, completely violating the Maryland Immigration Consultant Act. If you fall victim to this, your entire immigration status could be ruined. And worse, if your so-called lawyer wasn't actually licensed, you won't even be eligible for reimbursement from the Maryland Client Protection Fund, because that fund only covers thefts by actual admitted members of the bar. Moving on to Section 2, decoding Maryland attorneys' statuses. Let's make sure we understand the terminology. You know, it is surprisingly easy for an attorney to fall out of active status. While active means they're currently in good standing, a lawyer can get hit with a temporary suspension just for missing their client protection fund dues or even forgetting to confirm their tax ID. They can also face what's called administrative decertification simply for missing their annual pro bono or IELTS trust account reports. The bottom line is this: if you see anything other than active, they cannot legally represent you in court at that moment. Period. Now here is a surprising twist that trips up a lot of people. Unlike a lot of other states, you can't just Google a public bar number in Maryland. The state publicly tracks and identifies attorneys by their exact legal name. So getting the correct, full spelling of your prospective lawyer's name is actually your very first, absolutely crucial step. That brings us to Section 3, the 3-step verification guide, where we'll execute your search. Let's see how you actually build your defense. Step 1 is simple. Go to mdcourts.gov/lawyers/addylist and enter their name to confirm they are listed as active. But Step 2, you can't stop there. You need to check the Attorney Grievance Commission archive for any past ethical sanctions. And finally, Step 3, if your case involves things like bankruptcy or federal crimes, you have to cross-reference the U.S. District Court bar search. Just because someone is licensed in Maryland State Court does not automatically give them federal credentials. Now, behind the scenes, attorneys do have a numeric identifier, like a client protection fund account number or an attorney ID. But those numbers are primarily used internally by the lawyers themselves to access the attorney information system, to pay their fees and file reports. For you, the public, your primary tool is always going to be their full legal name. So why does being active actually matter on a functional level? Well, only verified active attorneys are authorized to securely e-file documents in the Maryland Electronic Courts, or MDEC system. If they aren't active, they literally cannot effectively process your legal paperwork through the state's electronic infrastructure. Let's dive into Section 4, our disciplinary deep dive, to uncover their ethical history. Okay, I really want to highlight one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to legal searches. A certificate of good standing only confirms a lawyer's current active license. It does not disclose past completed disciplinary actions. To uncover that hidden history, you specifically need a statement of disciplinary history. Because yes, an attorney can be totally active right now, yet still have a history of serious ethical reprimands. So to get that deeper history, you have to contact the Attorney Grievance Commission directly. They're the ones who prosecute ethics violations, everything from warnings all the way up to total disbarment. You can easily request an attorney's disciplinary statement by shooting them an email at records@agc.maryland.gov. Also, just a quick note, while the AGC can tell you who has been disciplined, they cannot give you referrals on who is good. For that, you'd want to check with the Maryland State Bar Association. Next up is Section 5, Avoiding Common Mistakes. Let's look at some pitfalls and additional resources. Please, don't fall into the trap of just doing a simple state name check and totally ignoring the federal courts if you're dealing with a federal issue. And hey, if you ever run into a discrepancy, say an attorney claims they just paid a late fee but the website still says suspended, you can always reach out to backup resources. The Supreme Court of Maryland Clerk's Office maintains the official role of attorneys, and the Client Protection Fund can confirm if an assessment issue was just recently resolved. Finally, we've reached Section 6, our conclusion and checklist for securing your representation. Before you sign any retainer, I want you to ask yourself, is the person holding my future actually qualified? Take the actionable insights from this explainer today. Demand their full legal name, search that state listing, and definitely check for a disciplinary history. Empower yourself and verify your counsel. And please share this explainer with any friends or family members seeking legal help. Because remember, the system only works if you actually use it. What hidden histories might be lurking behind a simple handshake? As always, I want to leave you with a quick reminder. This explainer is strictly educational, drawing directly from the Maryland Judiciary's official regulatory protocols, and it should not be construed as legal advice. For any specific concerns about a lawyer or your case, you really should consult directly with the Maryland Judiciary or a trusted legal professional. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and stay informed.